Alright guys, I've got one last video for this series. I started out with day one, what to do on day one, made a video about how I spend my night one, and then made a video about how I spend day two, because there's actually a lot of stuff on day two, like getting this forge made. That's pretty useful to the new players. And this one is going to be my last video in this series. It is night two. It is about to turn to nighttime, as you can see from the clock there. And I've got my forge made in the last video. I'm back where I spent my first night. This time around I don't always stay there, but this time I did. So I've already got a sleeping bag laid down. I'm using this corpse for storage, so I've got some stuff stored away, including some food. Got a cooking pot on my fire. Got several more cooking pots on me, and picked up a crossbow recipe yesterday, which is pretty exciting. That's how we're going to do tonight, is make a crossbow. And I got some leather from some couches downstairs. So first thing we're going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is just clean up my inventory a little. Oops. Turn all that cotton into cloth. First thing I'm going to do is load up my forge. So as I promised that this video would be, getting hot already, so I'm going to go ahead and as soon as I turn these forges and this campfire on, it's going to get even more warm in here, so I don't want to overheat, so I'm going to go ahead and there we go. Take off some clothing. Those two pieces right there are quite a little bit of insulation. So yeah, it should be going down now, so I'm just going to keep that in my inventory. So I might need that again in the morning. Okay, so the forge, once we make the forge, we made it by making a bellows and then actually using the forge recipe. We access the forge in here, and now this is very confusing, I think, to new players. It was very confusing to me when this alpha dropped, this entire screen right here. So let me explain. This is where we add the fuel, and this will tell us how much time we'll get from that fuel. This is the tool slot, just like on the campfire. If we get an anvil, we can put the anvil in there, calipers, tool and die set. I think that's only used for rockets, making rocket launchers and stuff. The calipers we can't make, we have to loot those somewhere, usually a working stiffs crate. The anvils we can make, it just takes a lot of iron to make them. Here's where we put the input, what we're putting into the forge. Here's the box for the output. It can hold up to 6 items. And down here is the crafting queue. Here's the recipe list. So what we're going to do starting out with your first forge is you need to load clay and scrap iron. And that's going to load up the iron and the clay on the input tab here. So now we're going to need to turn it on, so we're going to add a bunch of fuel. I know I'm going to forge most of the night, so I'm just going to go ahead and add 4 minutes worth of fuel to start with. And we can see immediately it starts processing whatever we've got in the input tab. So we've got iron and we've got clay going in. And as we get enough of that loaded up, our recipe tab starts to change to show us what is available for us to make. So now we can make forged iron. This is probably the first thing that most people are going to want to make out of their forge, and it needs 5 clay loaded into this side of the forge and 10 iron. And again, we're talking about this side, not this side. This stuff is the stuff that's going in. This is what's already in it. So we are actually going to make pretty much as much forged iron as we can. Everything that we want to make on this first night is just going to use forged iron. So I'm going to start with 5 forged iron. That's as much as I can make right now. And the nice thing about this new method of forging is that while it's making the forged iron, it's also loading up the other. So the input continues to go in, the output starts coming out. We can kind of see both of those two things happening at once. We've just got enough iron here to make another forged iron. A couple more forged irons, so we're going to go ahead and smelt. I'm getting hot because I'm standing next to that forge. It is generating some heat. But I'm going to go ahead and grab the forged iron I've got so far and move away from the forge so I don't get so hot. Okay. So now that I have 5 forged iron, I have my choice. I can make a fire axe or an iron pick. Now, I happen to know that I'm going to have enough forged iron to go ahead and make both, but if I have to choose one or the other, I'm going to choose the pickaxe first. And the reason being that the stone axe does a fair job with wood, it does a terrible job with metal or stone. So the pickaxe is going to give us more of a benefit over the stone axe than the fire axe. So I'm going to go ahead and before I make anything, I'm going to check my skills tab. I've got 7 points available. And what I want to do is now mining tools, the pickaxe and the fire axe as of this alpha are both categorized as mining tools. Now this is where people get confused. Mining tools only does exactly what's in the description here. You do more damage with mining tools and you receive harvest bonuses faster. Gain skill by using items in this group. It does not affect the crafting of those. So all of the tools are crafted under toolsmithing. So every point that I can put into toolsmithing before I build my tools is going to increase the quality of them. So I'm going to go ahead and buy that one, and I'm going to buy that one. Now I'm out of points. So I do recommend putting some of your early level points into toolsmithing. And now I'm going to go ahead and make my iron pickaxe. It's going to take 45 seconds, and while it's doing that, I'm going to go check on my fire. 30 seconds left on the fire. We got quite a little bit of stuff loaded. Great, so I can make another 13 forged irons. Another thing to note is that the forge generates heat, as does the campfire. And as if on cue, things start to grow. So I'm going to go ahead and start processing all of my, as much of my meat as I can into bacon and eggs. So I need 2 minutes and about 30 seconds worth of Oh, I don't have a cooking grill, so I'm not going to actually be able to make that quite yet. So I'm going to turn that off for a moment. Need to finish out my forged iron here. So how do I make a cooking grill? Well, it takes 10 iron pipes. If I had any air conditioners up here, if I had access to the car out in the front driveway, I'd try to get my iron pipes that way. I don't have those right at the moment. So I've got one iron pipe right here. We can make iron pipe from scrap metal. Or from forged iron, I'm sorry, forged iron. Normally I'd say don't waste your forged iron on this, but for the purpose of this video, I really want that cooking grill. And you can hear the zombies are pretty angry about all this noise that I'm making up here, and the fact that I'm stinky. But I'm going to let them just beat away. I've already looted everything below me. I don't intend to stay at this house for a terrible long time, so it doesn't make much difference to me if they destroy everything. And it looks like I need one more. Sure. pipe. Dump a few things. This iron reinforced club, I'm going to actually leave it here on my stash. Again, I mentioned in another video, I like to leave some stuff in case I get murdered while I'm out running around, so that when I respawn I don't have to leave this house just butt naked. Grab my last pipe. Okay, so now I've got enough pipes to make a cooking grill. Cooking grills are a little expensive in terms of their metal usage, so when I leave here, I prefer, if I know I'm not coming back, I want to take that with me. Okay, and that used up 9 of my meat. I've got 10 left. I'm going to go ahead and turn that all into charred meat then. Or grilled meat, I'm sorry, grilled meat. Cooking grill allows you to make grilled meat. The advantage of the grilled meat is I believe you get a little better wellness return on that. Wood to keep that going for a while. Okay, back to our tool making. We've got 11 more forged irons. Like I said, I knew that I had enough forged iron to make all of my tools. So I've got my pickaxe. 106, that's a pretty good starting out pickaxe. I'm going to make my fire axe now. And then we're going to make a crossbow. Crossbow takes 2 leather. Like I said, if I didn't have my leather smithing or leather tanning book, then I wouldn't be able to make leather myself. I am not able to make leather myself. So a lot of people get hung up on that. But the leather couches, and you can also get leather from breaking down cars. So 2 places there where you can get leather without... you can also get leather from scrapping certain leather items of clothing. So you can definitely find the leather without the leather crafting book. 1 forged iron, we've got 6. 10 wood, we've got plenty. So we're going to make that. So there's our fire axe. So the fire axe replaces the stone axe for us. One thing the stone axe will do that the fire axe won't do is upgrades. If we wanted to upgrade some frames or something, but we do have a wrench to handle that. And then our crossbow, level 108 crossbow, that's a good find. That's going to replace our bow and arrow. We're going to leave the bow and arrow here with all of the arrows, because I can't do anything else with them. We're going to make a bunch of crossbow bolts. So again, our limiting factor is our small stone. I don't want to use up all my small stone. I like to keep a little bit in my inventory, so I'm going to make 90 crossbow bolts. Getting pretty hungry. I'm going to go ahead and start eating. So now, just to recap, we've got... I'll switch these 2 around. We've got a fire axe, we've got a pickaxe, we've got a crossbow. I found this iron reinforced club, but if I hadn't found that, I would be making this barb club right here. Forged iron and wood. However, I'm pretty sure that any barbed club that I make is going to be of a much lower quality than this iron reinforced club, and again, coming back to the whole I don't do melee if I can help it. I am going to process these 2 bottled waters. And then what I'd like to do is make as much goldenrod tea as I can. It's going to take a lot more firewood. Still hearing angry zombies. They can probably still smell me or hear me, or it might even be just the heat generated by the forge and the... And when I say heat there, I don't mean actual heat, like hot heat. That is related to the heat map in the game, where every activity that you do that makes noise basically adds to the heat map for that area, or exactly how much noise have you made in that area, which will cause a horde to come looking for you. It will actually cause screamers to come looking for you first. If they see you any activity, they'll scream, and then that causes the horde. Main thing to know is that if you do too much foraging and campfiring and beating on things in a spot, you'll generate enough heat to the zombies will come looking for you. I am definitely doing enough of that stuff to cause that. So I'm going to clean out my inventory just a bit here. Blood bags aren't doing me any good. Cooking pots are fine. I'll probably end up scrapping those cooking pots at some point. At the moment they're not hurting anything. So again, right before daybreak, I like to clean out my inventory of anything that I can't leave behind, so that if I'm out looting and I find somewhere else that I want to stay the night, I don't have to come back here to get anything. This is all stuff that I can stand to leave behind, and it's not going to make or break anything. On the other hand, I like to leave enough here that if I die while I'm out looting, I've got some starter kit by my sleeping bag. Before I forget, I'm going to go to my crossbow and I'm going to load that first crossbow bolt so that when I go to fight my first zombie, I don't pull the trigger and hear click. Okay, so our water's low now. Core temp is going up because I'm close to the fire. Food is at 100%. It's actually over 100%, but that's hidden. So I won't be able to eat for a little while, which is just fine. Just leave that stuff on there. I can actually put the bacon and eggs in my inventory. You notice that when I did, it didn't make me smelly. Bacon and eggs, for some reason, doesn't smell to zombies. They don't like the smell of bacon and eggs. Go ahead and pull over some goldenrod and start drinking that. Get a little wellness every time you drink goldenrod, so that's why I like to use that instead of water. Some empty jars. I said I wanted to make all of my water into goldenrod, so that I don't have to carry a stack of water as well as goldenrod. I just made 2 new water, so I need to make 2 more goldenrods. Now that sounds like a lot of angry zombies down there, but in reality I know it's probably only 1 or 2 zombies just making a lot of noise. It's about to be daylight, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over here. Hopefully they can actually sense me over here, and that will move them away from the ladder a little bit into the kitchen area. I actually beat up my ladder, so I'm going to have to replace that to get back up. Now the crossbow is actually useful to look down the sight most of the time. Those coffee beans might be useful, but I'm not too worried about them. So, just like I said, 1 zombie making a lot of noise, did a lot of damage. Managed to bust up my ladder pretty good. So I'll either have to make a new ladder or use wood frames. So I don't want to carry that meat with me today, so I'm going to leave that here because it is smelly. And I just happen to know that there's somewhere that I really want to go and loot, and I'm probably going to end up returning here again in the morning. So I'm going to stop the video here, but if I was going to continue the video, you'd see me offload a lot of stuff right here, basically make the commitment to come back here at the end of the night, and then run over to that town and run around and try to loot as much stuff as I can before getting mobbed by zombies and having to return here. And then tomorrow night I would break into this room and bust open that safe with my cool pickaxe, and hopefully by then I will have had some success in finding recipes to make firearms. But anyway, that is it for this series, guys. From here on out, the game's just basically playing the game. It's one thing after another, just keep on gaining recipes, gaining better weapons, better tools. And I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that new players maybe have learned a little something about getting past those first 2 days, because that is definitely the hardest part of the game.